Okay, so can someone give me a thumbs up or give me a confirmation that the screen is visible and the screen is up? Okay, yeah, thank you, Prajakta. Thank you, Vanam. Yeah, thank you everyone for the confirmation. So, okay, let me start by introducing myself. I hope for many of them, this is one of the repeated regular sessions of Indian Institute of Industrial and Professional Studies with me. But I also understand that there are a few newcomers here to whom this is a maiden session, the first session. So welcome all of you to Indian Institute of Industrial and Professional Studies, and also to all the students, learners who are regular with us. So let me give a brief introduction of the institute. So our institute is a ISO certified institute where we do have two certifications. One is regarding the quality of the service, that is the education that we provide, and the second one is for the authority to issue the certifications to a person against certain skill or certain things. More detail about these certificates and all other things you can access from our website www.iapsindia.net. And moving next, about me, my name is Advocate Kritika, and I basically hail from Bangalore, Karnataka, India. And I'm currently working with an MNC as an in-house legal counsel. So my day starts with contract, it ends with contract, and sometimes yes, I do dream of contracts as well. In addition to that, I also do a little bit of freelancing. Yeah, a kind of moonlighting, wherein I do take up issues related to the compliance, legal advice, all other things. And teaching is my passion. That's why I'm here. I wanted to be a full-time lecturer, but however, destiny had its own plan, and I'm here balancing between two jobs. So this is all about me, institute, and we'll straightly jump to our course today. Before starting, let me tell you, as this is a recorded session, my humble request is please do park all your questions at the end, wherein we'll have dedicated 15 minutes, or we can even extend it to get all your queries, all your questions answered. And if you have any questions, any concerns, please do let us know in the comment also. Surely all of that would be answered. And anywhere, if you feel that it is extremely critical that you have to pose your question, then please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question. So now let us start the lecture today. More than lecture, I would like to have this as a conversation, as an imaginary conversation, because contract drafting and policy drafting is all about imagining. I always opine that if you are an overthinker, then you are a very good drafter. And if you are not an overthinker, the moment you jump into the world of contracts, you will automatically become an overthinker, because that is what we have to do. Think, think, think. All possible solution, all not possible solution, whatever it is, whatever situation, we have to just imagine and we have to go forward with that. So, what is the first rule of contract drafting? The first rule is no set in stone rule exists for drafting. Flexibility is the key. Yes, the first rule is there is no rule. Very simple, very straightforward. You cannot define a set of principles that this is how you are supposed to draft, this is what you are supposed to include. It can never be. And many of us, including me, even I feel that the legislation is lacking, especially for the contract law. We do not have sufficient rules and regulations. But however, we have to understand the fact that no matter how lengthy the draft of the Bear Act will go or whatever it is, you can never fit in all the situations, because things and scenarios would be always different. So you cannot have a rule, but there are some things that you have to keep in mind. The first thing is define as you go. This is very important in contract drafting. Any term you use, you have to define it. You have to tell what it is. For example, confidential information. So you have to tell what is confidential information. Okay, need not necessary that it has to be an NDA for it to have definition of confidential information. A vendor contract also can have confidential information, and even there it has to be defined. When you tell parties, who are parties? When you tell someone as vendor, who is vendor? So everywhere you have to define the terminologies as you go, as and when it is applicable. Next one is being precise. Yes, do not make the sentences very lengthy. Have it very precise and concise, but it should not miss any kind of information. Next, be consistent with the terms. For example, now in one party, you are adding or you are referring a term called as seller. Ensure that throughout the contract you mention or you refer him as seller. Do not give any reference to him as vendor or as a purchaser or something. Once you use the term seller, ensure that throughout the contract it is the same. And also regarding the other term, not necessarily with parties also, but with that of the other things also. For example, if you are drafting any construction contract and you are referring the term as project, so it has to be project throughout the thing. You cannot use the word like the construction at the later part, no, because this will help in understanding what are we referring. So always ensure that you are consistent with the terminologies that you use in the contract. Next, balance legal English and plain English. Yes, you have to use legal English, but I would definitely not suggest you to use some Latin maxims and all, some fancy Latin terms. No, that's definitely a big no. See, it has to sound like it is written by an advocate or a person from legal background. On the same hand, a layman, that is a person who is not from the law background, should be able to understand it. He should be able to grasp it. Now imagine you are using a legal maxim. Mens rea. It's a very simple maxim for any law student. A law student who is in deep sleep, you wake him up and you ask, what is mens rea? What is actus reus? He will answer. But that's not the same case with the other people. It would be sounding like mens rea. What is it? Okay, so you have to understand, and you have to step into the shoes of other people, and then understand well whether they will be able to understand it, interpret it, and know about it. Avoid grammatical error. Yes, this is very important. See, wherever you are using plurals or singulars, and especially with the tenses, past tense, present tense, future tense, you have to be very careful. That is very important, because when you interpret, it plays a major role. Sometimes, if, for example, there is a consideration and the money will be paid. Okay, that will be in the future thing. The consideration will be paid. What you make a grammatical error and you said the money is paid. So it made a great difference. Now, like they'd be like, yeah, I have paid the money. You have acknowledged it. So tenses also play a very important role. You need not by heart all those, I think around 12 tenses and all other things, but you should be knowing in what tense you are going to write the content. Next one, tailoring to the need. This is the key to the contract. You should be knowing what is the need of the other person. Like, see, when we cook, for example, I'll tell cooking dosa. So when we cook that, okay, somebody likes it crisp, somebody likes it less crisp, and somebody likes it like not much roasted. They like it very much plain. So we understand that, and accordingly we do pour dosa. Okay, somebody likes thin dosa, someone like a little thick dosa. So we do pour it according that. We tailor it according to their need, right? Same way, the contract also should be tailored to meet the need of the two parties who are entering into the contract. So that is why there is a big no to the templates in many of the places. See, unless and until you work in an MNC, which is like, yeah, you have to follow the template, and a minor tailoring can be done, no much tailoring and all other things. But if you see many of the advocates or law firms, they're like a very big no to the templates. Like certain boilerplate clauses, you can have standard ones, but no templates. The reason for that is every situation is a unique situation. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. It cannot be same. You have to fit in the things very much correctly. Establish your own circumstantial rule. As I said, imagine your circumstances, overthink what could go wrong, have all the bad imagination, have all weird imaginations, then your contract will be very good. Trust me when I say this. Jumping into the next one, so here we'll be drafting leave and license agreement. So I have inserted just one slide of plain English and legal English. And also you can refer the demo session of the video which I have shared to you regarding the usage of the legal English and plain English, wherein I have made a list of the words, terminologies that you can use, and hope the PPT is also accessible. If not, please do let me know after the session. I can share the link with you. You can access it from there. Yeah. So here you can see the difference between plain English and legal English. The context is same, the meaning is same, but in legal English there is certain clarity, there is certain information, there are are you presenting something? I'm not able to see the screen. So is the same case with everyone? Can someone please confirm if my screen is up?
No, I can see your screen. It's visible.
Uh,
Usage of premises.
yeah, sir, can you please drop in and rejoin? Maybe that
Okay.
should serve the purpose. Yeah. If the issue persists, please do let me know.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. So I hope this is not the scene with others. Others can see the screen. If not, please do drop in and relog in, and let me know if the issue is still on. Then I would do it from my end. Yeah. Okay. So now here you can see the licensee may use premises only for residential purpose. So this is in the plain English, wherein when you come to the legal English, we add the word exclusively. So this is a word which differentiates between plain English and legal English. See, the licensee shall utilize licensed premises exclusively for residential purpose. So the word exclusive has a unique meaning in the legal terms, that yes, this is exclusively, like the WhatsApp message that I have sent you, it had that sentence. This link is exclusively for your usage. Okay, so that differentiates plain English and legal English. Now I know your next question, that how are you going to study this? How are you going to do this? The only answer is practice. It is something that you have to get to your subconscious mind, that yes, this is what I'm going to write. So once you start practicing, once you get used to it, once you get experienced to it, you will automatically start writing like that. Okay. The second part, the licensee cannot run any business or commercial activities from the premises. So legally, we will write it as the licensee is expressly prohibited from conducting any business, trade, or commercial activity within the premises. So now here, instead of the word cannot run, we are using the term expressly prohibited, not simply prohibited, expressly prohibited. Okay, so now you can understand the stress that is given for the term prohibition. Sir, I think, can you see the screen? Can you please confirm?
Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, so thank you. Yeah. Okay, so the licensee has expressly prohibited. So the stress here is on the word expressly. That is, openly we have told you, upfront we have prohibited. Okay. So this is the language that will help when you land in the court. Therein you can make your arguments in that way, that we did not just tell him that you cannot do it, but we prohibited him from doing it. Okay. So see, for a person who is from a non-law background, it is a questionable thing, that what is the difference between telling that you cannot do it and you are prohibited from doing it. But I think a law person can understand what is the difference, what is a weightage that telling no and prohibiting it matters. Okay, so legally, the word expressly prohibited carries a great weightage. So the detailed one you can find in the link that I have shared. So you can go through that one. And now we will be jumping into our today's topic, leave and license agreement. Now, this is an alternative to the leave and license agreement. So we are not entering into rent agreement these days. Many states like Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Haryana, New Delhi, that's a union territory. So they have released a notification stating that please do not enter into rental agreement. Instead of that, please enter into leave and license agreement. If you see the sub-registrar office website, the state website of Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, you will find the format of leave and license agreement. And they have expressly suggested the state people to use that format of leave and license agreement. And if they want to make any changes, they can do that. So you can go to that website, and also you can find the templates of leave and license agreement as suggested by the government. I am not suggesting it, the government is suggesting it. So now, why it is suggesting? What is the difference between leave and license agreement and rental agreement? See, in leave and license agreement, you are licensing your house. You are licensing your property. Wherein in rental agreement, you will rent it out. Okay. And licensor and licensee relationship will be established. Okay, the two parties will have one will be called as licensor and the other one will be called as licensee. Wherein in the case of rental agreement, it will be landlord and tenant. Moving next, this leave and license agreement will be majorly falling under Indian Easements Act 1882, more specifically Section 52. So Section 52 speaks of license of the property. And now this property can be commercial property, and also it can be the private property, like for private purpose, like personal purpose to stay or to rent and all other things. Wherein the rental agreement, there is no central legislation for this. There are various state legislations, the State Act, which speaks about the rent control things. So this is a major difference. And now you can ask me, does it make any difference in the registration process, stamp duty process, or HRA claim process, etc.? The answer for that, all of those questions is no. There is no impact on the HRA that is claimed. There is no impact on the taxation thing, including that of the GST. There is no impact on that one. And you, with the leave and license agreement, you can enter into, you can register your GST number, you can register your company, you can register anything. So the government has clearly said in one of its notifications that it is not going to discriminate between leave and license agreement and that of the rental agreement. And also the registration process, if it's more than 11 months, then 12 or more than 12 months, then it will be registered same that of an rental agreement or a lease agreement, whatever the terminology is. And also the stamp duty is going to be the same. There is no major difference in it. The benefits that the leave and license agreement carries is it is easy to evict the person, to let him to remove him out of the house. And also for the tenants, that is the licensees, it gives certain rights, certain protections which is not provided in the Rent Control Act. So this is the difference, the major difference, and the preference for leave and license, the reason for preference of the leave and license agreement. I hope this is clear. Now I have a question for you. So before we start with the requirement gathering, with the legal research and all other things, so let's have a quick interaction and let's break some ice over here. So this is the common question that everybody, I think, would have heard this from their prospective owner. So I'm going to have a timer here. So I would like to see the answers flowing for this particular questions. The question is, can the owner of a property retain one set of keys with him or her? The options are yes, maybe, no. And let me start the timing, and let me hear answers from you in the comment section. Yes, 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 yes. So I see a lot of yes. And one maybe. No, in case of rental, not sure for leave. No, maybe, maybe, yes. Okay. So the answer for this one is maybe. Let me tell you why maybe. Because this has to be disclosed and openly told to the licensee that one key will be with the owner. So if that person is okay, then he can have it. And he cannot have it unless and until he mentions it in the leave and license agreement, because that is a concern of the privacy and all other things. So he can have the keys, but this has to be disclosed in the leave and license agreement, and the licensee should have consented for this one. And just because he has keys, he cannot enter into the premises when and how he wants. He has to give a prior notification that I'm coming inside, or I'm doing that, I'm doing this. Only then he can come in. Thank you for all your answers. Yeah, now we'll start with requirement gathering. This is the first step that we take whenever we draft any contract. Now imagine yourself, like, I don't know how many of you know cooking here, but whenever you start cooking, when you imagine a dish, the first thing you do is you check whether it has all the ingredients or not, whether you have all the ingredients. Like, now suppose you want to cook rajma chawal, then you will see, okay, do I have rajma here, have I soaked that, and do I have tomatoes, sufficient tomatoes, and do I have onions, do I have garlic, ginger, and all the essential masalas which is required for that. The same way, when we draft a contract, we also do collect a, a good number of information that we require. So, what do we require for leave and license agreement? The first one is, what is the exact location and description of property with fixtures. So you should be having it so that you can add it in the schedule. You describe the all the information and all other things. Now, what is exact location? Why it is important? That is because you have to understand whether it is in the municipal limit, whether it is in the panchayat limit, or whether it is in society or something. So you should be knowing about this. Next one is, who are the parties involved? Licensor and licensee, who are they? Are they individuals or legal entities? Are they Indian citizens? This is very important. See, now if you are entering into a leave and license agreement with a legal entity, then you should be mentioning about that one, right? You should be understanding whether that person who is signing or who is executing the contract on behalf of that entity, is he authorized to do so? And also you have to do a background check whether such legal entity exists or not, whether it is blacklisted. You have to do a basic search of yours. And are they Indian citizen? Yes, this is very important. With the globalization, we have many foreign people coming in and are living in India. So it is very important to understand what is their nationality, so that we do understand, are they legal migrants to the country? Do they have a valid visa? Do they have any criminal background? Do they have the good connect with embassy? All other things has to be sorted, and it has to be mentioned in your leave and license agreement. Will a property manager or agent be involved? If so, what are their roles? So many of the cases, what happens is, the owners or the licensors, they will not be so much involved in the property transactions. They'll be like, okay, so whatever it is, and I'm not going to get in. There are many websites, I would not like to name them, who provide these services. Like, they have the list that, okay, instead of you, we'll be renting it out, we will be collecting the rents, we will be doing this. They would be asking the owner to sign about 15 pages of agreement, and they will be doing a tri-party leave and license agreement. So all of the things will be there. So you have to understand that, is there any intermediary between these people? Next, will there be an option to renew? And if so, what terms? Yes, because you have to add it in the renewal clause. Are there any specific terms for early termination by either party? So whether any either party can do it or not, what are the termination grounds? How do they want it? Is there any security deposit? What is the amount and when will it be refunded? So you have to add that detail. Are there any penalties for late payments or discounts for early payments? So you have to even consider this. Nobody will give any kind of discount for early payment, but yes, for late payments, they will do that. And when I speak of early payments, some owners prefer their tenants to give suppose if the leave and license agreement is for 11 months, they would ask them to pay all the 11 months rent upfront, and they're like, okay, so you are supposed to pay 11 months, we'll give you a discount, you pay for 10 months. They prefer that because every month, every now and then they have to go, they have to ask, so they'll be getting freedom from all of those things. And also they'll be having an assurity that, okay, for next 11 months people are here at my place, my house is occupied. So you can ask even that, and if they do not have that idea, you can even propose that one. And how will costs of repair and maintenance allocated? So you have to ask that question. What is the intended use of property? Residential, office, sometimes it will be residential come office, so you'll have to consider all of these things, and I will tell you why this is asked in the later part. Is property insurance required, and if so, who will bear the cost? So these days, I'm not sure how many of you are aware of the concept. We have something called as home insurance, and this home insurance is taken by the owner, which includes the tenant also. And if something happens, some mishap happens in the house, maybe a furniture broke, or the TV blasted, or there is fire in the kitchen, anything, then the insurance will be covering the same. So this is a very trending kind of insurance that is happening everywhere. You can just type home insurance, you will find everything. In some places, in some cities, in some societies, they have mandated it, but not everywhere. In majority of the townships, this is mandated. And also when you avail loans, right, even then they are taking off the home insurance is a mandatory thing. So mandatorily you will have to pay premiums for the house insurance till the tenure of the loan agreements. It is included in the loan agreement. So bank themselves will be giving this kind of home insurance to you. So you have to add these clause of, you have to ask them whether there is any kind of insurance. Are there any local permits or licenses required for the licensee to use the property? If the house is in the township, then you'll have to check whether they have any move-in procedures, or any kind of procedures that they have established for tenants. What is the notice period for termination from both licensor and licensee? Yes, that's very important thing, that you have to understand what is the termination. Are there any specific terms under which early termination is allowed? How will disputes be handled? Mediation, arbitration, or amicable settlement between the parties? How are you going to settle the dispute? Which jurisdiction's law will govern the agreement? That is also very important, because the owner may reside in some other state. So you have to come to a common conclusion that which is the place that you are going to decide. Will there be regular inspection, and if so, how often? So some owners are very specific regarding this, that once in the 3 months I'll visit the home, and I will not give notice, I'll give sudden inspection to see how well you have maintained my flat, all other things. So you have to ask this question. Are there any specific building or society rules that the licensee must adhere to? Yes, like in the society where I do live in, there are regulations wherein whenever a tenant is onboarded, the tenant's KYC details should be compulsorily given to the clubhouse. Like we have to fill a form, and wherein all the details, his all photographs, and we have to declare how many people are going to live in the flat, where are they working, all the other things, along with their KYC documents, self-attested copy of KYC documents. And also one copy of the rental agreement should be given to them as a part of the protocol. So this varies from societies to societies. In states like Maharashtra, Haryana, and other places, police verification certificate is a compulsory thing that they have to get the police verification certificates. Moving next, are pets allowed in the property? So many of them tell that the pets are not allowed, it will spoil, all other things. So this thing you have to be very specific and you have to write in the leave and license agreement if the owner wishes to. That's the other part of the story. Are there any specific deduction that could be made from the deposits, cleaning fees, repairs, and all other things? So usually as the standard procedure, whenever a rental agreement concludes, or sorry, a leave and license agreement concludes, out of the security deposit, 1 month amount is being shall be deducted as a standard deduction. So in addition to that, if there is any deduction, then it can be mentioned. Will the deposit be returned immediately upon vacating, or is there a specific waiting period? This happens many a times. You know what happens? Even I have faced this situation wherein this particular thing was not mentioned in the rental agreement, and rental agreement then. So it was like the place wherein I was residing, the owner was like, when a new tenant is onboarded, I'll pay you the security deposit. Right now, I have invested the money here. I do not have cash flow. So please wait until new tenant comes in. So those things happen. So to avoid that, out of my personal bad experience, I have learned it is very important to write whenever we rent a house that when the security amount will be deposited. Is there any specific waiting period, or it is immediate, or like on moment, like you give cash and or you transfer money and I'll give the keys. So how are we going to move ahead with that? And what is the process for
And
documenting?
just, and just a corollary to that,
Yeah.
most of the rental agreement,
Mhm.
they charge deposits and it's to be paid without interest. Maybe you live in
Yes.
somebody's house for 10 years, they won't pay
Mhm.
interest. So
Yes,
is it
correct.
are they is it like covered by the law and they can do that, or can it be challenged?
There is a very recent case for this. I just skipped the title. I forgot it. It was from National like Law Tribunal. So somebody had challenged this one. Like this has to be considered as financial debt. But the court in that case has said that under IBC Act, this cannot be considered as a financial debt. Not under the other act also. I'm not sure about the name of the act, but they had listed 2, 3 acts and they said that this cannot be considered as debt. You are not giving any kind of loan. So that's not a loan,
Okay. So
very precisely. Like the person whom he had paid deposit, he had filed for insolvency.
Mhm.
So yeah, in insolvency, he washed away his hands. Like, I'm a bankrupt person, I cannot pay you your deposit back. So when that proceedings happened, he also stated that I am supposed to get my security deposit back. But the
Hmm.
tribunal quashed it. He said that no, we cannot consider the security deposit as a financial debt. I do have the judgment with
Okay.
me. That was a very recent one. I can share you the copy. And that was most debated, like should security deposit be considered as a financial debt or not?
I know effectively, because if somebody is living in a house for 5 years,
Mhm.
your rent is not actually what you're paying. It's much more than that, considering you are losing the interest
Correct,
on that amount. And many
correct,
places
correct.
they ask for 10 months, 1 year, that kind of a deposit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Yeah,
significant amount that.
correct, correct. So this is an open thing, I could say that, because there is no sufficient judgment for this one yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, what is the process for documenting the property condition before and after occupancy? Yes, this is very important that you should be knowing how the property was when you handed it over to that person. So here I'll tell you how do we do that in the drafting part. Yeah, are there any specific clauses required by the local law, that is police verification, rent caps, and all other things? So it has to be checked. Yeah, so this is the requirement gathering part, and saw a message that they are not able to see this because the content is little more. That's why the screen is totally occupied. However, I'll share the PPTs with you so you can go through the content in detail. So this is all about the requirement gathering that has to be considered, that has to be done while drafting a leave-in license agreement. Moving next, let me ask a question. Once again, this is a question that I think this does not happen in metropolitan cities, but this happens uh, in an average Indian city, I could say. Also, the landlords are very nosy. They're like, you cannot have guests, you cannot have family members. You told only two people can stay here, not more than that. So, can the landlord prevent you from having guests or family members to stay with you? See, your timing starts now. So let me know the answer in the comment sections. So I'm getting a lot of maybes. Okay. No. Yeah, I do have more than 20 people, so at least I expect to see 50% of them answering. No, maybe. Depends on the agreement, maybe. Okay. So any more answers coming? Yes, for the period of short time. Okay. Okay, so let me disclose the answer. The answer for this is no. Even though you add it in the rental agreement, sorry, in the leave-in license agreement, this is against the principle of natural justice. See, you can do any act which is legal. Having a guest or making the family members stay with me is not something which is illegal. Okay, so if someone is running a brothel home over there, then that's an illegal thing. Okay, so you are running a brothel home from here, or you are tempting those people over here, or any other things, or you're going ganja, whatever it is. But having guests and letting the family members stay with you is never ever an illegal thing, and it cannot be questioned also. So it goes against the principles of natural justice. Now you can ask me whether, what if they tell that it is the house is only for me, only for my exclusive use, so how it is? So that would be a different thing again. I would say that that is not, again, not in alignment with that of the principles of natural justice. Now, when I have rented a house, I have all the right to live legally over there, to do anything that is legal. Any illegal thing, yes, that is violation of law, but anything legal, I am permitted to do it. Okay. So yes, now we'll be moving into.
Sorry again.
Yes,
So,
sir.
which means you can have as many number of people as stay in your
Mhm.
house.
Yeah, like guests and family members. That's a different thing. So now, in some societies, it's like, see, you should not be overcrowding. Anything beyond reasonable limit, you cannot justify in the natural just principles of natural justice. So
Okay.
here, yeah, so like if I'm renting a house and I want to get my guests in, then it is my right, right? Like it should not be like I am subletting to them, I am collecting rent from them, or I am taking not if not money, any other kind of favors from them. Imagine I have rented a house, and in the name of guest I have bought another colleague of mine, and from her I am taking a share of rent, or
Mhm.
like we are splitting the expenses. So that will become subletting. That will be an implied contract of subletting, which is happening.
Correct.
Yeah. So that is different thing.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that would be a different concept altogether. Now, suppose if you are sharing this link with someone else to join, then it will be like, no, that's not a good thing to do. That's not a legal thing to do, or that's not an ethical thing to do. But if you are sharing your learning experience with someone, then yes, that's a good thing that you could do. That yes, I attended a session and this thing happened. For there, I cannot tell you that no, this is an illegal thing, this is against principles of natural justice, whatever I have thought, it's only exclusively for you. No, it is not like that. So
Okay.
there is difference between principles of natural justice and also taking benefits out of it. Then it will be like purely misleading and misinformation, and that's a breach of the contract.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. So now, once we have all the information that we require, we'll start with the concept of legal research. So, what is the first thing that we study? The first thing that we study is applicable statutes and local laws. Okay, local laws is very important because, as I said, in most of the states, there are very specific legislation that this is how the rental has to be, this is how it has to be, or this is the procedure that you have to follow, this is a protocol that you have to follow. And in some places, registration of rental agreement is compulsory, at least in their portals. See, for example, if you see the website of Maharashtra government, though you need not register the rental agreement, but you have to upload it in the portal. Know your tenant. That the same cases in Haryana also. Even there, you have a portal and you have to upload the data over there. Okay, so you have to be very aware of the local laws. Society bylaws, this is very important because in some societies they have their own stringent laws, like this is what we do and this is what we have and all other things. And the Like for example, the society where I live in, we do not have permission to move in or move out after 5 p.m. So whatever you do, you have to do before like at the reasonable period of the day, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m, and not on weekends, not on public holidays. So these things has to be specifically ensured. So whenever you make the date of entry, like the execution date of the rental agreement, you should ensure that they can literally move in that day. Okay, so all of those things has to be made very much clearer. Next, tax implications. Yes, this is very important, especially when you are dealing with the corporate entities or when you are dealing with the legal entities. Municipal and property usage laws. Yes, you should be understanding this one too, because in some places, what happens is if a place is designated as residential area, you cannot use it for commercial purpose. And also in some commercial buildings also, they have rules that this place will be exclusively occupied for commercial purpose and no one will use it as their residence. Okay, so in one of the place, like they had made it as a rule, like this cannot be residence come commercial purpose. In some places you can use it both the ways, so you have to look at those laws as well. Dispute resolution mechanism, this is also very much important because people are investing money everywhere, not just in India, even outside also. Even many foreign investments are also there in India, so you should be understanding how are you going to resolve a dispute. And recently what happened is I was speaking to a friend of mine and he was sharing an experience wherein he had rented out his house for 3 students from a very reputed college. The 3 students did not pay the rent for about 4 months, and when he went there and when he asked, he told, no, we are not going to pay, give us time, we are students, all other things. And also they played their student card. They brought some other few friends of theirs and they're like, you are abusing students, you are harassing students and all other things. The matter went to some student association, they stood in support of students. So that was a huge cry and mess. Then later he called up his parents. It's like, your children have not paid the rent. So the parents were very clear. See, you have not entered into any kind of agreement with us. We are not bound or we are nowhere responsible for the action of our children. They wanted to pay the rent. We have transferred the rent. If they have not paid you further, that's not our problem. You please sort it out with our kids. We are nowhere in the scene. They washed away their hands. And he went to the college, the university, and he told to the vice chancellor and all the people that your children are doing that, doing this. Even he said the same thing. See, privity of contract applies. The contract was between you and them. We are nowhere in the picture. They are our student. If you want them to be present here, I can bring them here. But please do not create any kind of scene or anything in my campus. You have not rented out or you have not let them stay in your house after consulting with me or after taking permission with me. You have given it for your own financial benefit. So again, he was chased from that of the university. So he was left nowhere. And after a great circus, like he had to run for the police station here and there. And then again, after about 3 months, he was able to vacate those boys from his flat, and also they had made substantial damage to the flat when they left, and also he had like loss of about a year's revenue from that flat. So those things happens. So there, make it very much clear in the dispute resolution mechanism. Now if you're not sure about the student's behavior, or you are unsure that okay, the student will pay or not, so make their parents as the witness. So tell them that okay, bring your parents, let them be this one, or have a talk with the parents that okay, so this is your child and we are giving the rent, we are giving on your assurance. So some line you can add over there. Okay, so in order to evade the dispute that could probably arise, so you have to do a legal research for that, that how are you going to sort this out, so that your client does not end up in such kind of situation.
Are there some
May,
standard? Sorry, I'm
yeah,
interrupting.
no problems. Yes.
Are there any standard ways of doing it? I'm asking because I also had the
Mhm,
bad experience. I have a house in
mhm,
Gurgaon, so I
mhm,
gave it to a couple who were, I mean, young, recently married for about
mhm,
maybe in 20s.
mhm.
It's like a COVID time, and government said, the owner should be a little sympathetic,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
people are losing
Mhm,
job. These guys did not pay me rent for 1 year,
okay, so
and
you
they.
can issue
So,
an eviction notice
mhm.
and send a copy of the same to the nearest police station also, and from there you can get them evicted. Suppose if they're from a respectable family, they'll surely do it, but if they are stubborn and if they have made their mind that they're going to cause trouble, then it's difficult.
Yeah, no, that's all. Because one of my friends who is a lawyer at that time, he
Mhm.
told me, don't file a case, because you
Okay.
file a case, their lawyer will come, he'll create some more havoc. Better
Okay.
emotionally do something and do something and
No,
take them
that
out.
was the COVID period. So even the court would have said that be amicable with the clients,
Correct, correct.
yeah, with your
That's what
tenants.
he was saying, because courts are also not going to support you at this moment.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
actually told them that I am going to move in, so I need the house vacated and all that.
Hmm.
So it
Hmm.
took me it took me like 5 months to almost throw them out.
Okay.
So
Okay, so an
almost a lot.
eviction notice,
Yeah.
instead of going to the court, eviction notice with the help of police would be of great help.
Okay.
Because what would they do is like they'll take out all the belongings and they'll throw it in the center of the road. Police officers, they do that. If you
Okay.
have an eviction notice, if you serve them eviction notice and you give them a complaint, police officers will do that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And next, if one party is a legal person, corporate entity, yes, you have to be very careful with that one. Whether what kind of entity it is, do they have permission to enter into these, and what is the protocol that they have to follow? Do they have any kind of bylaws and all other things? And if one party is an NRI, OCI, or foreign citizen, as I said, you have to do research laws on that one. What See what happens is here you will have to make you will have to add some language which will make it as a local country agreement LCC. Because what happens is something that is crime in India is not a crime in other country. Now, for example, in India, bigamy is a punishable crime, wherein in some other countries, it is not a punishable crime. It is permitted. So, what happens if somebody from that country resides here and something happens regarding that one? So, you have to ensure that you frame clauses in such a way that you cover all those aspects. So you cannot dig deep into the country laws, what it is says and what is this, what is that. You cannot do that. So you can have some clauses which will speak about the adjustment of the governing laws, and also it will settle which law they are going to follow and to what extent it is going to be applicable. Moving next, if the owner is a joint owner, sole owner, or POA holder, this is very important. Now, if you have to refer to the sale deed, okay, to see whether that is a joint owner, sole owner, or POA holder. If the property is in the joint holder's name, joint account holder's name, both their names should be there in the rental agreement as licensor. Okay, if sole owner, only that person's name, and if POA holder, always ensure that you give reference to the power of attorney and also ensure that that specific power of attorney is registered. Never ever depend on the unregistered power of attorney and do that one. The reason for that is, if it is unregistered, it can be cancelled. You will not be getting any intimation. It can be amended. You will not get any intimation, neither you nor your licensee. So that will be causing trouble. So ensure that if there is a PAO, power of attorney, or if there is a special power of attorney, SPA, it is registered. Do not rely on the unregistered thing. And if you are for the tenant, you can refer the government websites, wherein if you enter the property ID, you will get details of the all the property owners. I am not sure of the other states, but for Karnataka, it is iswattu.kar.nic.in. There you can find all the details. Applicable privacy and data protection laws. Yes, now with the invention of data protection laws, it has not even left this live and license agreement, because here you will be using the personal details, like the person's Aadhaar ID card, UID details, address. You will be having the self-attested copy of Aadhaar. So you will have to ensure that you add related to this. Now, this is not everywhere, but still, as the data laws are booming up, they are taking colors, they are empowering their wings. So let us also empower our wings and add the similar kind of clauses in leave and license agreement also. And now, if you see, for example, if you get any foreign citizen, maybe somebody from US, then you are supposed to mask their social security number. Even if they are from someone from Japan or China, you have to mask their identification number. Okay, so it is very important that you put up all of these things. Police verification certification, NOC, and others. Yes, this is very important. Always try to get police verification certificate before before executing the leave and license agreement. The reason for that is you cannot cancel it later. What if he does not get a good PVC certificate, or what if it is got to know that he has some criminal background? So to avoid that, ensure that before execution you have POC in your hand, and also no objection certificate, and board resolutions. These play a major role when you have this leave and license agreement with the corporate entities. What is the guarantee that someone who is signing the leave and license agreement has the authority to do it? Okay, so ensure that you get all those supporting documents and you add them as the schedule in your contracts. And next one is rental receipts. Rental receipts are very important because they'll be having the HRA claims, and all other things will be followed by that. And also it serves as a proof and helps you to track the transactions, that the amount was paid and this was done, that was done. So ensure that you specifically mention about the rental receipts. And as a good habit, if you're not so technologically good, or if your client is like, no, I cannot do a manual receipt and all other things, cultivate a habit of emailing that. Okay, so with the subject, rent for November 2024. Rent for November 2024 has been paid bearing this transaction ID, so and so. Either your licensee can email you, or even the 10 licensor can email that, okay, I have received the rent from you from so date and so amount. That will serve as a proof, a valid documentation that the rent has been received and the rent has been paid. And now you can ask me, is WhatsApp sufficient? I'll share all the Google Pay transactions. No, I will tell you why. The reason for that is WhatsApp has been constantly upgrading, and now we are having I could say then a masked evil, that is disappearing messages. So people can set timer and make the message disappear in 24 hours, in 3 months, or whatsoever. It's very difficult to track the WhatsApp conversation, what message was done and what was the discussion that we had. So that will disappear. And also there is this option of delete for both the parties, and pay and view one's pictures. So WhatsApp technically has gone beyond the league. So let us come back to our basic and very simple emails, wherein everything will be there. You can have one single chain or you can have multiple chains, and it's good if you generate a PDF or like the receipt that what I shared with you. You can even do that with the help of Excel. Very simple it is. So you can have those kind of thing also. It is up to the convenience of the both the parties who are entering into the agreement. So these are the kinds of legal research that you have to do. Now, I have one more question for you. I have kept questions every now and then so that we can have some interactions, and I can keep you engaged throughout this 1.5 hour session. So the question is, can tenant appeal eviction notice? So eviction notice is something that you give to the tenant, asking them to get evicted from that place. That is, go away from here or leave this place vacant. So if you being the owner, you give that notice before the termination of the contract, can they appeal it in the court? So your time starts now. So let me hear some answers from you. Okay, so a lot of yeses coming in. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Maybe yes. 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 Hmm. Okay, so any more answers? Yes, they can in case of, okay. Okay, so I'll go all of with you. With all of you, I do not want to go against you. The answer is yes. Yes, the tenant can appeal eviction notice, though they have given the sufficient notice period as agreed in the contract or whatever leave-in license agreement. They can appeal it in the court and they can tell that, so we are not evicting till the contractors or the leave-in license agreement is naturally being terminated. Though in the termination clause, you have the rights for termination for convenience, even then they can appeal the eviction notice. And the reason for that is, again, principles of natural justice. Moving next, let us,
But that is only in case they are paying the rent, right?
yes, correct. They have to justify in the court that on what ground they are appealing and how it is violating their rights.
Okay.
So they have to justify that thing in the court. Simply they cannot appeal, right? Like, what are the grounds of appeal?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. So moving next, we will have the blueprint. So we have collected all the information that we have. We have done all our legal research that we have to do. And the third step that we are going to do is having a blueprint or framework. Okay, so now we'll see what is the blueprint that we have. So every agreement will have a title. Okay, so that is the first thing that we are going to write. Okay, leave-in license agreement. After that, we'll have preamble. So preamble is wherein you introduce the parties. You tell who is what. And here, the most important thing that you have to do is you have to put their details, like father or sorry, son or daughter of so and so, aged about so and so, followed by address, where he is permanently residing, and majorly important thing is their Aadhaar card number or their PAN card number. The reason for that is you will be able to track that person. Like, if something goes wrong, imagine he locks his house, he locks your house, the owner's house, and he absconds somewhere. Where will you search him? Like, with that address and Aadhaar card address, so it can be changed, right? He'll change his Aadhaar card address. Where will you keep him tracking? So for that, if you have that Aadhaar card number with you, the police officers will be able to track that Aadhaar card, like currently which address it is registered. Even if you have the PAN card number, that would be also serving the purpose, because PAN and Aadhaar are linked to each other. And as an out of experience, I would suggest that have a self-attested copy of the Aadhaar card as the schedule, which we'll be discussing in the later part also. And yes, if it is a masked Aadhaar card also, that's fine. but ensure that you have the copy of it, because the last four digits can be similar to many persons, right? So even if you're mentioning it, ensure that you have the copy of it, so they'll be able to track it with the help of the barcode or something else. That is a police headache, that how are they going to track, but they'll be able to track it. Yes, specifically mention all of these details. Do not skip any information in the preamble. Next one is recitals. So recital is a short story. Okay, here you will tell when was the offer given. Sorry, it will start with invitation to offer. So you had posted several ads to giving your house for rent, and somebody offered to pay the amount, so and so amount, and you accepted their offer, and then now you are entering into the agreement. Now let me tell you, invitation to offer will be by the owner of the property, that you are inviting other people to give you an offer. Okay, and then offer will be given by the prospective tenant, and next acceptance of offer will be done by the owner. So this is very important here. All of us studied in the contract act, invitation to offer, offer and acceptance. So here in the recital, make it very clear that you invited for offer, they gave you the offer, and you accepted it. Okay, do not make it like you offered them that one. No, you had invited them to give an offer to you, and then they accepted it. Sorry, then they give you an offer, and then you accepted it. Okay, so this will clear the legal status, whatever will be followed in the later stage. Once it is done, we will directly jump into the commercial and or financial clauses. So what are the clauses that will be grouped under commercial and financial clauses? The first one would be the tenure. So you will be explaining about the tenure, like be very specific with the dates. When is the start date and when is the end date? And some people have a practice like while calculating 11 months, suppose the rental agreement was on 1/1/2025, and then they would be making it like 1/11/2025. Some people will have the habit of calculating 11 months that way. No, it does not happen that way. It will not be on the first day of November, but instead it will be on the last day of October. If October has 30 days, then it will be on October, November, on the 30th day of October. So on that day it ends. Okay, it will not be exactly on that day, that specific day. So to avoid that question of interpretation, ensure that you add the dates very specifically in the contract. Next, security deposit. Yeah, and here while drafting the security deposit clause, you have to be very specific that you add the language interest free, refundable. Okay, that is very important one. License fees, including taxation and date of payment, that is to be done like when the security deposit was paid. I would prefer to add the transaction number also. Maintenance charges, that is also very important. In the later part, we will understand why it is mentioned separately. And other charges like electricity bill and all other things. Right to set off, this is very important. Now what happens is, one of my friends had a unique case wherein security deposit was paid, and the tenant, he did not pay the rental amount. So the owner, what did he do was he adjusted it, he set it off in the security deposit, and he made the payment. So this person had given the police complaint that on what basis did he adjust the security deposit to the rent, where it is written in the contract that he can set it off. It is the general understanding that the people will have, but where it is written in the contract. So it is very important to write specifically the right to set off. Those, the right of set off will be right to set off will be with owner, wherein he can set off the adjustments, the balance or the unpaid amount of the rental agreement or of the license fees towards that of the security deposit. It is very important to add this one. And the next group we have is definition of property. So here we'll be mentioning about furniture and appliances. we'll be writing about the condition of premises, and also we'll be calling out the parking. Okay, so if any parking is specified, parking is allotted to that person, then that will be mentioned in the leave and license agreement. Okay, sometimes they skip parking, so do not do that, because while registering the sale deed or whatever it is, it will be very specifically called out, especially if you are registering any property in the townships. It will be specifically told that you will be assigned with this parking slot bearing number so and so. Okay, so you are giving that one in the leave and license agreement also. And in many places what happens is, they will rent out the parking space separately. In many of the places this is happening, especially in Bangalore. What they do is, like, they rent the house to someone and they rent the parking space to someone, like it is as high as 5,000, 7,000 per month. Okay, it's equivalent to that of a basic housing structure. So you have to specifically call out that, especially when you are drafting a leave and license agreement for a metropolitan city or a kind of townships. Moving next, the next paragraph that we have is the rights and obligations. So you have to write about licenses, representation, and warranties. Uh, we'll be drafting that clause on the next part. Possession, usage, damage, and repairs, alteration. There you have to specifically mention that no permanent changes or no permanent alteration will be done. And then you have to write no tenancy. That is, no tenancy clause means we do not have a relationship of tenant and owner. We have the relationship of licensee and licensors. And no exclusive occupancy. Okay, so you are not telling him that he is the exclusive occupant and he's the exclusive owner. No, you are not going to do that. Because if you tell him, if you give him all the exclusive rights, then you will not have any right of inspection. He'll tell that, see, I have given this one as exclusive thing, so it is all mine, it is all me. No, you cannot do that one. So ensure that you do not give him the exclusive rights. And no sub assignment. So any kind of sub assignment or any kind of revenue generation he will not do from that specific property. Inspection, yes, you have the right to inspect the property. You give him proper notice, you visit, and also ensure that if you are for the owner or the licensor, you write by the owner or by the licensor or any person who is authorized by the licensor, so that if you cannot go, it will be somebody else. If you are for the licensee, tell that no, only the owner will be coming. Okay, so ensure that which side you are, and accordingly you have to draft the clause. Right to sell the property, this is very important. Many disputes happen like this, like they'll be the house will be on rent and they'll be wanting to sell the house. So then they'll be like, no, you cannot sell the house because it is in the rental agreement with us. There is no right for you to sell the house, we will not evict, and all other things. But if you have this particular clause that you have the right to sell the property, even during the subsistence of this leave and license agreement, your eviction notice will stand good in the court. Imagine a situation wherein you ask the tenant to vacate it, but he's like, no, I'm not vacating because you do not have the right to sell. My agreement is valid, I am paying rent timely, and I am of the good behavior. You can inspect, you can do anything, but you do not have the right to sell. So I am appealing your eviction notice. In that case, if he lands to the court will tell, okay, fine, you are in the good books, you are doing everything perfect, but the owner has specifically told that he has a right to sell the property. In that case, if any deal is fixed and he wants to vacate the property, then he can do it. Okay, so to be on the safer side, always ensure that you add the right to sell to the property clause in your leave and license agreement. Next, we have compliance, NOC, bylaws, rules of the society, nuisance and hazardous goods. Especially if you are renting out, see, everybody does that. Even when I was going to the college, even I have done it several times. But too much of noise, weekend parties, all other things will be there, and the neighbors will be complaining. There is a lot of noise from your flat and all other things. So to avoid that one, you can add this particular clause that nuisance and hazardous goods are prohibited. And today morning, I was reading in a news, in news that some Instagram logger, they had posted their home garden pictures, and the netizens have identified ganja plantation, and the police has invaded and all other things are done. They were on a rented apartment. Imagine something like that happening. It's the worst nightmare, right? So having this kind of clauses in your leave and license agreement will make you prepared for all of those weird and the worst situations. On an overall thing, like it will not specifically tell that growing ganja, but it will fall under creating nuisance and hazardous goods clause. So you can prohibit from them, and you can ask them to evict immediately for breach of the contractual terms. Next, we have functioning, like how the leave and license agreement will be functioning, like renewal. How, when will that be auto renewed? Or will that be renewed at the mutual consent of the both the parties? What are the conditions for renewal? Sometimes it will be like an increase in the security deposit as for the market correction, and increase in 10%, 15% of the rental hikes, or as per the market value or the value corrections, whatever it is. So you have to consider all of those things while doing the renewal. And then cancellation. Here, there is no termination. Okay, we will be using the word cancellation because of the licenses things. Okay, because here it will be on the license. So if you have seen the apps, if you have subscribed to any, or if you have to taken any a premium membership, if you want to cancel it or if you want to close it, it will ask, are you sure you want to cancel the subscription? It will not ask, are you sure to terminate the subscription? Because the legal term for subscription licenses, it is cancellation. Next, explain breach and disengagement plan. So I'll be dealing with the disengagement plan too. Yeah, so, and the next one we have is boilerplate clauses. Force majeure, governing law, dispute resolution, notices, severability, indemnity, headings, waivers, counterpart clause, and execution clause. So in execution, ensure you add name, unique identification detail, address code, address, date, photograph, along with that of the thumb impression. So these are the things that are suggested to be there in the execution part. So you have that person's photograph. Sometimes you cannot ask your tenant, right? Give me a photo of yours. You cannot ask. So what you can do is very cleverly, you can add it in the execution part. Now, if there is any township or anything, they will be asking the photographs. Okay, give me your photographs. So very cleverly adding it in the leave and license agreement or any kind of contract would be to add it in the signature block so that you will have that particular photograph of that person. And then we have schedule. In schedule 1 will be description of property along with fixtures, bank account details to which the rent has to be deposited, rent receipt format if required, or if you are going to adjust it with an email or something, then you can skip schedule 3. Schedule 4, Aadhaar and PAN card of the license holder. And more specifically, you can have this self-attested Aadhaar card and PAN card of the license holder. So these are the lengthy blueprint or framework of the leave and license agreement. And also, I would not tell that this is the standard one or this is how it has to be. Please remember my rule 1, that is, there is no rule. You can tailor it to your situations. You can tailor it based on the kind of property it is, the kind of the need from the licensor and the licensee, or any kind of legislation that is there. So based on that, you can tailor your needs. So this is the third type of the this one, the third stage of the contract drafting. Now I have a question for you. I spoke about home insurance. This is a kind of checking your memory because I did speak about home insurance and I did speak about the coverage of the home insurance. So the question is, will tenants be covered under home insurance? The 3 options are maybe, yes, No. And I'll be very happy to see all of us, all of you answering here. Yeah, all of us is also right. Yeah, I'm seeing the answers flooding. Okay. Dilip, you disappointed me very badly. You disappointed. Okay, no problem. It happens. Okay, yes, 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 yes. Trick is middle one is the answer. Yeah, Nidhi, you got me at this point. Yes, the middle one is the answer. The answer is yes. The tenants are covered under home insurance. You give me that thing, and yes, for the next session, I'll mix match the answers. I'll ensure that I'll add 4 or 5 options, not just 3 options. I will increase the options and I'll make it more tricky. Okay, so you will not be able to break that code. Okay, so the answer is yes. And yes, now let's move to the last stage, that is the drafting one. Okay, can you please explain? Yes. So home insurance is something, as I explained earlier, that is the insurance that you take to your home. Like if there is any theft, okay, if there is any robbery, dacoity, or if the gas cylinder is bust. We know that if the gas cylinder gets blasted, the gas cylinder company will only pay you 50,000 rupees. But if you have a home insurance, they will pay you entirely for the loss or damage that is covered. Okay. If there is any fire breakout, or in Bangalore, we had floods. So many of the houses, it went in flood and all their valuables was floating in the water. So if they had home insurance by then they could have taken availed that home insurance, and they could have claimed all the losses or the damages that is caused to them. And if you are purchasing a home on the loan, then the bank would definitely ask you to get a home insurance, so that if something happens to the home, suppose the building collapses, then the home insurance will cover the entire loan amount. Okay, so that way they will not be bearing any kind of losses. So it is the same kind of like medical insurance, health insurance. Yeah, that's the same thing. So same kind of thing is for the homes also. So this is a kind of booming insurance, I could say. Yeah. So this is all about the home insurances. Now moving towards the drafting, let's draft licensors, representations, and warranties. So here, I hope this is clear and this is legible. I've zoomed it in. Yeah. Okay. So here, the first thing that we do here in the licenses, representation, and warranties is ownership and authority. Recently, I did rented out a house of mine, and the tenant, he specifically asked me to show the sale agreement in which it was written that the property is in my name. So yes, that is there. So you have to ensure that you establish your ownership. You tell that yes, I am the owner, and I have the authority to grant it. Okay. And if you are a joint agreement holder, a joint ownership holder, even then you have to mention it. Now imagine a house is in the name of husband and wife, a couple, and they are fighting in the court for that property, and the husband rents it out to you. What will you do? You will be in a very bad situation, that how to come out of it or how to stay it over there. So you have to ensure that you add these kind of clauses. Then we have clear title and encumbrances, which covers the same thing, that they have clear and marketable title of licensed premises, free from encumbrances, liens, charges, mortgages, or third party claims. Compliance with laws. Now again, I'll tell you why mortgages, charges, liens, and all. Imagine there is an XYZ who has a house, who has a flat, and you have rented it out. He has not paid EMI for a good amount of 6 months. The bank people are in front of your home to lock the house permanently and take it to their possession. So what you are going to do? How are you going to deal in that situation? In order to save you from such a situation, we do have this clear title and encumbrances, so that you can stand before the court with good amount of terms like, yes, this is my right and this is written here. And compliance with laws. Yeah, this is also important, that the person pays the property tax in time and there is no proper problem that has been done. Condition or premises. Yes, he has to state that the house is in a good condition. Okay, and if there is any defect or any deficiency, he will be letting you know that. And no pending or threatened litigation. See here, look at the word, look at the language here. Threatened litigation. Here, I am not telling that no pending or litigation. I am telling threatened litigation. That is, I have not heard from anyone, or there is no chances that a litigation could be filed. Okay, sometimes what happens is the husband would be knowing that, okay, the wife is going to file a suit for this, she's going to claim this, so let me rent this out fatafat. So if husband does that, then he would be in trouble, because he has given a representation and warranty that there is no threatened litigation. And non-interference. Yes, there is no person who is coming in and doing all of these things. Imagine he has entered a leave-in license agreement with XYZ. Again, he's entering into to ABC. One day, one fine good morning, it is like ABC, XYZ, both of them have entered. Like, I have the rental agreement, I have the rental agreement. So to avoid that one, we have non-interference. Disclosure of material facts. This is the generalized statement that whatever I know regarding the house, I have told. I've not concealed anything. And also, it's not like it's not constructed over any kind of thing. And like I have all the information that I know, I have passed on to you. I have not hidden anything from you. Okay. So this way, the owner is going to give all kind of representations and warranties. If there is any default from the part of the licensor, then the licensee can, with all the capacity, stand before the court and tell that, see, this is the undertaking that this person had given, and this is my situation currently, so please give me the justice. He will have a very good case in the court if all these clauses are there in your leave-in license agreement. Moving next, in the good interest of time, I'm taking it little fast, and yeah, just a second. Okay, so we are done with the licensors one, and next we have the possession. So possession, we are telling that when are we going to get the possession. So here, possession back to the owner upon expiration, termination, or cancellation. So these are the three circumstances of this agreement. The licensee shall promptly vacate the licensed premises with all personal goods and belongings. So this is not just goods and belongings. Okay, if you just write goods and belongings, he will take all the fixtures that you have given. He'll like, where did you tell that it's my personal? I should take only my personal things. Okay, so writing personal is very important. Okay, personal goods and belongings. Should the licensee fail or neglect to vacate and remove their belongings upon such expiration or termination, the licensor shall be entitled to recover damages at a rate double the daily compensation amount for each day of continued occupation. So it is up to you to decide it. Okay. Alternatively, the licensor may, with or without recourse of any court of law, remove the licensee and their belongings from the licensed premises. Okay, now here you can see the beauty of with or without recourse. Okay, sometimes what happens is if you write only with the recourse, then it's like you have to go to the court and you have to get the papers. Okay, if you write without, if you have a spare key, open it, throw everything out and get into the house. Okay, so I would always suggest, do not do it without the assistance of the police. Always ensure that you have their permission and they are in your good terms, or they are with you, to be on the safer side. Okay, so this is what, and also in addition to that, ensure you have all documentation and you have recorded everything, every single thing that is being done. Moving next, we'll see no objection certificate. This is very important these days. Let me tell you why. Yeah, I hope now it is clear. Because of the content, it may appear a little small. Yeah, okay, so NOC from the society or association. So this is again tailored clause, you have to look at the bylaws or the regulation of the society. What does it says? In some societies, they tell that you have to compulsorily add a particular clause in all the leave and license agreements that you do. So if there is anything, then that you have to add. And here I have added move in fees, move out fees, and other charges. Okay, so because if I am referring to the township where I reside, we have 5,000 rupees move in fees and 5,000 rupees move out fees. Okay, so that has to be paid. So it is very important to make it clear that who is going to pay, and utility and service connections. So now here you can see an agreement shall serve as sufficient authorization for the licensee to apply for utility services, including but not limited to internet connection, gas connection, government scheme benefits, and address changes for personal identification purpose such as Aadhaar updates. The licensee is permitted to use the licensed premises address for all these personal purpose. Okay, so whenever we get an internet connection, a Wi-Fi connection, broadband connection, they do ask us for the ownership details, okay, or the rental details. So you have to give them this. Sometimes they'll tell that get a separate NOC from the owner of the property. See, it is the protocol that they have to follow. For the gas connection also, any gas connection, one of their records is having an NOC from the owner that you can have the particular gas connection to your house. So it is better to incorporate that NOC language in the gas connection so that it will be easier and good. Government scheme benefits. This is because in Karnataka and also in many other states, we do have free electricity and all other things. So the tenants can apply for it, provided the owner is okay with that and he has given his consent. So you can add this language and this will serve as the purpose. So your tenant can avail that benefit. And restrictions on commercial use and legal restrictions. Yes, you cannot use your company, use that premises for registering any legal entity, business, or commercial establishment, including but not limited to registration of GST and other business related licenses or permits. This is mainly because these days we have this concept of cloud kitchen booming everywhere. Okay, so we would not want someone to incorporate or to start their any business in our address. The reason for that is recently there was a case in Bangalore only, wherein a family ordered cake from a cloud kitchen via Zomato, and the entire family, including 2 children and the couple, they had it, and all of them, they died due to poisoning. And there was heavy charges against the cloud kitchen, and how are they manufacturing it, and all other things. That was a huge mess. So to avoid those kind of legal complications, you can add this language. And no transfer of ownership, because you are giving NOC, that may mean that you are giving a kind of rights to them to change their name and all other things. So if somebody is bad at interpretation, or somebody is too clever to make any kind of interpretation, then the ownership may be transferred. So you're making it very clear that yes, you are giving NOC for certain purposes, for certain usages, but you are not giving any kind of ownership rights, title, or interest in the licensed premises to the licensee. It shall not be used or considered as evidence for any change in ownership of the property, nor it shall permit the licensee to make any claims of ownership or alter any documentation that establishes the ownership. Okay, so this is what the entire NOC agreement states, NOC clause states. Moving next, I'll take it a little quick. So yes, we have one more question. If the society increases the maintenance fees, does the owner have the right to increase the rent amount for the tenant? Let me explain the situation. Now, for example, I have rented my house, my flat, for 15,000 of rent, including maintenance. Okay, and I'll be paying maintenance to the clubhouse. And now the maintenance amount was 2,000, and all of a sudden they have made 3,000. Now, during the pendency of that rental agreement, can I increase the rental amount just because the maintenance is increased? Let me know the uh, answers for it. Like, how are we going to deal with this situation? Again, I know, yeah, maybe, yes, yes. So I'm getting two answers, yes and maybe. A lot of maybes, and I know this there is a glitch from my end that the middle one is the answer. Yes, it is. Maybe it could be done depending on the contract language. So let me show you the language here. See here, while showing the initial clauses, I said that license fees is separate and maintenance charges are separate. Okay. See here, the language is the licensee agrees to pay licensor so and so as the license fees along with maintenance charges as actuals as prescribed by the society or resident welfare association from time to time, which is currently so and so. Okay, so here I have specifically told this, and I have combinedly called license fees and maintenance charges as combined license fees. Okay, so this way I have left a room, or I have left a scope for myself to change it. Okay, and I'll share this license fees clause and all the PPTs so you can have the look at it, but I'll be going it a little fast. Now we have disengagement plan here. So yeah, this is the disengagement plan we have. We discussed about this earlier. Disengagement plan says, okay, we are terminating the contract, but how are we doing it? Okay, so for the first one will be vacating the premises. So here you can see that upon expiration, termination, or cancellation shall vacate the premises, and also shall remove all the personal belongings. Okay, so this is very important. You have to specifically call out personal belongings. And after all that is done, there will be an inspection and handover. The owner or any person authorized by the licensor. Here you can see licensor or any person authorized by the licensor shall conduct inspection, and upon satisfactory inspection, the licensee will return all the keys, access card, and any other things. And next one is clearance of dues. So here any outstanding payment, it has to be done. And upon completion of the inspection and clearance dues, the licensor shall return the security deposit to the licensee, subject to any deductions or for damages, unpaid dues, or other charges as per this agreement. So here you have very clearly told how are you going to refund the security deposit, and also within how many days it is going to be processed. Sometimes, not sometimes, you can write it immediately also on the spot, and sometimes you can give a window of 5 days. So it is up to you, up to how the parties agreed. And removal of personal belongings. Okay, so he has to do it. If he does not remove, then he will be disposing it off. And after all of these disengagement formalities, including but not limited to payment of dues, inspection, handover of keys, security deposit settlement, the agreement shall be deemed to fully and finally terminated. And imagine why this language is added here. Suppose you give a time frame of 5 days. Okay, so that 5 days, your phone, your contract should not be contract should not be terminated, or your contract should be active, so that you can have you will be on the safer side. The termination date will be decided later on when the security deposit is fully paid. Okay, so if you are giving a window here, then ensure you specifically call out that in the final termination. So this is the disengagement plan here. And next we have schedule 1, description of property along with fixtures, serial number, item, description, quantity, location, how it was handed over, remarks, estimated value in INR. So this will help in calculating the depreciation amount. Okay, so for when I handed over it to you in 2024, this is the value, and when I'm kicking back in the 2025, this is the value. So you will have that easy calculation method. And yeah, so here I would like to wind up. So I've taken another, I think, around 10 minutes extra. And yes, so you can, I'll share all these PPTs, and I request all of you to draft a leave and license agreement and share the same with me. I'll be sharing the email ID, so you can send that one to me. And yes, if not me, I'll ask any of my friends to do review it and also do the red lines on it, and suggest you certain recommendations, how well can you do that and all other things. Because as I said, certain things come only with the practice. You can listen to me speaking for about 5 hours or whatsoever it is, but unless and until you do it, you will not learn it. It's similar to swimming, driving, and all other things. It is not a skill that you will learn by looking at it or something like that. It is something that you have to jump into the water, and only then you will learn it, or you will acquire it, or you will master it. In any term you may choose here that you would like to have it here. So please do draft a leave and license agreement, and I will share the email ID, and also I'll share the recording as well as the PPT for your reference. You can go through all of it. And yes, if you have any questions, any concerns, please do let me know. And I'm not sure how many questions I'll be able to take today, because we have not respected our time today. Yeah, okay, so force measure clause is important for LNS. If a SWOTS point should be included. Yeah, because, yeah, see, that's what I said. We discussed about COVID, and if we had a good force measure clause, then I think there we had some recourse. Even in like floods and all other things, the generic force measure clause, we can add it. Like if there is some gas mishappening that is happening, and if the house needs demolition and construction, sometimes, the structures would be collapsing. Even that is coming up everywhere. In Mysore, like one entire apartment was collapsed. And also this will include the statutory regulations also. These days, because of the bulldozer thing, you never know which house is going to be demolished. So yes, force measure clause would be of great help. Sometimes you sound like Alexa. I am taking it as a compliment. Thank you. Yeah, Ajay sir, you had something to add on.
Yeah, there's a couple of questions.
Sure, sure.
First, let me thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving such an informative session. Because
Thank you, sir.
I actually never realized that rental or a lease agreement could include all this, because my entire life I've seen that 2-3 pager of rental agreement. We just put 20-30 clauses and that's it.
Yeah,
So
correct.
this is like an eye opener to me that we should, include all that.
Now it's Kali Yuga, so we have
I know.
to make changes to that.
I actually looked back while you were talking. I went to my lease agreement that we had signed with my tenant. There is actually no dispute clause in that.
Oh, okay, that's
So
a
at
very
that time,
bad thing.
because what happens when you do it, that broker comes, he'll say, okay, you sign it, both the parties sign. So we did that. Today, I'm realizing there's a lot of loopholes in that agreement. So thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Question I wanted to know is there a significant difference between a leave and a license agreement and lease agreement, or they're like similar?
A lease agreement is usually done, which goes for years.
Okay.
And the government is also suggesting not to use the lease agreement, because the relationship of the lessor and lessee is complicated. So the major focus would be on simplifying the relationships. I'll tell you about relationships in very simple word. Now, there is a boy and there is a girl. Okay, so when they are in a relationship, they are called as boyfriend and girlfriend. Now they want to get separated. That's breakup.
Correct.
Now they are married. So if they want to get separated, it's like divorce. They have to go through the court and all other things. They just can't simply break up. So that's the importance a relationship definition carries. This is a very simple example that I could give you. In licensor and licensee, it is just simple cancellation, wherein on that of the lessor and lessee or the tenant or owner, it is termination.
Okay.
And also the state laws, they are like literally very fancy, and they are like you have caps, and there is a lot of complexities revolving around that concept. So to make things easier, to ensure that we are in a less complicated relationship, leave and license agreement is always preferred one. And also as I said in the initial, registration and stamp duty and all, there is no changes. You can have a leave and license agreement for 4 years also, no problem.
So what
Or
is this?
10 years.
So what is the significance of this, registration of this agreement beyond 11 months? Somebody says within 11 months you don't have to do it. After 11 you
Yes.
have to do it.
Yeah, that's because of the Registration Act. So it says that if you are entering into any agreement wherein you are giving possession for less than 11 months or less than 11 months, then you need not register it. But if it is above that, then as per the Registration Act, we have to mandatorily register the property.
So does it help doing the registration? Sorry.
Which one?
I mean, getting the rest, even if it is 11 months
Mhm.
and you want to do a registration, does that registration help the owner or it doesn't matter?
It doesn't make any significance because law has given exemption over there.
Okay.
It will be just an additional burden to your pocket.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you want a step ahead, then you can get the document notarized.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the website you said earlier that you can see?
I'll share that one. That
Okay.
is for the Karnataka government, eswattu.kar.nic.in.
Okay.
Yeah, you can verify all the property documents. You should have the 11, they give this 11-digit property ID, which is unique for every property all over Karnataka. I just have to enter it and it will show all the ownership details, mutation details, extension, and all other things. Everything about the property. You can even get the copy of the sale deed also from there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, if I have missed any question in the comment section, please do let me know. Yes, I'm seeing. Mm-hmm. Okay, for corporate entities, is board resolution required for registration purpose? Yes, it is required. Even you require this certificate of incorporation, COI, that is also required. If it's a company, that's required. If it's a sole proprietorship or LLC, the registration document of that one is required. Then, yeah, the black box legible, yeah, because it had some additional content. That is why it was not this one. That's why I later on zoomed for the next part. Yeah, I think I looked at all the comment part. No, I will share the exact clause of the Registration Act. I do remember writing an article on that one in my LinkedIn newsletter. So I'll be sharing that link also regarding the registration. Yeah.
One more thing. I know it's like a check bouncing, this thing when they paid it through rent for the rent and the check bounces.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the recourse that you have?
So I will never ever suggest to go for checks. Even I personally had very bad experience with the checks.
I had the same, so that's the reason I'm asking.
You have to invoke the breach clauses.
Mhm.
If you are accepting it via check, then please do mention explicitly in the contract, in the leave and license agreement that you do, that this will be paid via check, and you can give that thing specifically mentioned that you will be depositing the checks so and so, and this is if something is happening, then immediately you will ask them to vacate. So as soon as you file a check bounce case, instead of waiting for several other months, you can get them evicted in the very first month itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have a full study of this now.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for your help today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah.
You don't need
Any
a
more
picture
questions?
today, right? You don't need a picture with the screen and all that.
No, it's okay because it's only about 21 people, 20 people, so I do have the entire attendance. No
Okay.
problem.
Okay.
Any
Madam,
more
anyway,
questions?
thank you. No
Thank you,
question.
sir. Thank you.
Always you maintain your speed.
Today I was a
Yes,
little slow. I think so.
no. This is correct. This is correct.
Okay.
Today you did not have any water, no. Last
Yeah, at the end
session,
I had.
4 times you in between took water.
Mhm. Mhm.
So today it was very beautiful. But
Thank you,
my
sir.
way of tenant these things and all, I totally paint and
Hmm.
clean everything, and then only I will
Okay.
hand over to the tenant. When they are
Mm.
vacating, they have to
Okay.
maintain
Okay.
same thing and they have to hand over.
Mm.
Usually I'll get 10 months advance only.
Yeah.
No compromise. Rent
Okay.
only
Okay.
cash.
Okay.
We fix it like
Okay.
that. 1 month advance notice. End of it. No written agreement and all. I
Okay.
directly go on. Yes, I'll directly go. I'll cut the electricity and water supply. They will call the police. Then I will go for them. Because when we go to the police, they ask money. And another
That's that.
thing, I have to pay the fellow also. This
Okay.
tenant, he will evade 2 months rent also.
Okay.
Practically, we
Okay.
having this hell of problem. After all this problem, one of the
Mm.
tenant is a lawyer.
This is a wonderful approach, sir. Okay.
So there is no problem at all.
Okay. So
But
many
another
people
thing,
they do
the
not give the
insurance
home.
is very much important.
Okay. In many places, they do not give the home to the police officers, to advocates, and all for the same reason. And
Advocates,
some people, they don't even go to the
yes,
house which is owned by an advocate or police officer, fearing the same thing, that they'll always have an upper
yes.
hand.
Yes, they will talk all sorts of Eastman Act, this and that. I'll straight away go cut
Correct.
the water supply. I'll put the fuse no. If they go beyond, I will give to this
Mm,
electricity board. I temporary DC I will apply.
mm, mm.
So
That's
once
really
we have
nice,
to
sir.
go 100% fighting, no, because with the
Mhm,
see live that is giving a property for a tenant and getting that money
mm,
when they vacate,
mm,
no, that
mm,
entire what we got, no, it will be spent on
mm.
that same property.
Correct.
There
That's
is
true.
no.
That's very true, sir.
So
Very true. I agree
that
with
was
that.
very beautiful today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
It's
Yeah,
always
and I
also.
hope
Thank you. Good night.
good night, sir. Good
Another
night.
thing is,
It's
yes, another thing that assignment and all, you give some template or like that, madam.
okay. Yeah, like
That
I'll
will
give
be
the
good.
outer blueprint of this, and
Ah, yes.
you do fill. Yeah, I'll share the PPT. It has the blueprint in that, so you can fill the contents over there. So once you do it by yourself, you will understand how the ground level things are.
Yes, madam. Thank you.
I also heard that even if your I mean, tenant is not paying the rent, you cannot ask for discontinuation of power and water and all that. Cannot be done. It's a
So
violation
Yes,
of the
as per law,
goes
you have not
uh,
to do. As per law, you
it
have
goes against
no
the
rights.
principle of natural justice.
That's what
Actually,
I was saying. That's what I was told that as a landlord, you can't even
he's in a rebel mode. He's a rebel owner.
if no, I'm just trying to understand all the pros and cons
No, sir. What you
because
are
of
saying
getting a
is
bad experience.
100% correct. As per law, it's not, you have no right to do it, even if you are a landlord. But what is the problem?
Mm.
When you go to police, they ask more money. That is the problem.
Correct,
Mm.
correct.
In townships, what they do is like they revoke their access. Like you will have to get any approvals, like MyGate. You have to get that approval, and then you have to get into the premises. So the owners, they'll be informing the clubhouse to revoke his permission to enter into the premises. So they'll be removing his permission. So that way you can stop someone from accessing if it is in a gated premises. That's a recourse which is available.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so
Thank you so much.
thank you so much. Yeah,
Please,
yeah, Prajakta.
I might call you a little later,
Sure, sir, sure.
more information.
No problem. No problem. No problem. Yeah. So if there are any questions, any concerns, please do let me know via WhatsApp. And also, I'll be sharing the recording of the session as well as the blueprint and also the study materials via WhatsApp. Please do make a report, draft a contract of that, and share it to the email ID that is provided. Yeah. So I hope we are good to wind our call. Thank you so much for staying up this late. I know it's very late, 10:20. So yeah.